Hello, what a glorious springy sunny afternoon here at Carrowcrory. It's 13 degrees, maybe 14 degrees. Unfortunately it's 4 o'clock. I had obligations that kept me inside and been dying to get out here. So I've got about an hour to work on this spiral labyrinth on the path here and indulge in this wonderful warm weather, t-shirt weather. Wow. And I'm also going to feature a bit about the willow, because as you've noticed in this series, I've actually been drawn towards a plant and tell you a bit about it. So I'm going to include sharing a few benefits of willow. So first of all, I think I'll have a go at the pathway and then I'll introduce you to the willow. Well, this is the back end of the willow cairn, and there's a willow tunnel here, live willow cairn. It's very untidy at the moment. It grew very well last year, and there's different species of willow here. So when I finish the path up of the triple spiral labyrinth, I think I'll resume on getting this sorted out, because this is a main feature for visitors when they come here, and visitors are going to be arriving here very soon. So it's a lot of pleasure. It's very relaxing working with this. And willow is wonderful because we get quite a good yield from this each year, with poles from rods, because it's very fast growing. And there's all sorts of things you can do with the rods. You've probably seen, well, there's one thing is this wonderful place where people can meet, and when the leaves are out, it's a beautiful covering, and the weaving can be used anywhere as a replacement for any wood planks. People use the weaving to actually weave fences instead of just putting wood or wire up. I'm actually making some raised beds up there because I've got a lot of rods. Why buy the wood? So I'm going to weave the walls for the raised beds, and they'll be perfect for a few years. Why not? It uses up the material. It is slow, but as you know, with the weaving, it's very meditative, very relaxing. Some people use the willows for holding back their ditches, holding back the waterways, rivers and streams, so that they don't silt up. Unfortunately, there's not so much of that done these days, but there should be. And the lovely thing here is, because this was very wet ground when I started, but there are alders, there are willows, and they're big drinkers, and they drink a lot of the water, and it's because of those trees that we have a tree labyrinth that people can walk on much of the year without sinking down into the ground. So I think we'll look at the willows a bit closer. When people think of willow and they think of healing, first thing they think of is of it being of pain relief. The salicin that is said to be within the willows. Very good for headaches, people say, but it's really the lower back pain that some people get. There's been a lot of good results from people claiming by eating the willow bark, by stripping the bark when willow is harvested and making a tea, a decoction, or either keeping it in alcohol to make a tincture, claim that it does help them. As far as pain relief goes, it's not as fast as aspirin, it's slower, but it's said to last longer, and it's also said not to be so disruptive on the digestion as ibuprofen and aspirin is. However, it does have its dangers. You have to be very careful. If you're on other types of medicine, especially blood thinners, you should consult your doctor, consult your herbalist, because it can be very dangerous to mix the two, especially with the warfarin or the coumadin, that if you actually have a pain and you start taking willow bark, it may thin the blood down too quickly, be very dangerous and cause hemorrhaging. So if you're on medication, don't just suddenly go up to willow bark, start taking it, make drinks out of it, and it will get rid of the pain. It could cause a lot more. But if you're not on medication, still consult a herbalist. It really is not a home remedy unless it's been passed down with incredible confidence and you have been carefully taught it. But otherwise, your herbalist will encourage you to use it if you do have pains. It's not as if it's a nutrition herb like the heather that I was explaining the other day. Another thing is, you just can't go up and say, oh, that's a willow, I'm going to take the bark, because the strength of salicin in different species of willow is very, very different. And I think I'll show you a few examples of willow here and tell you what's good, what's not good, and so forth. Now this one here, this with the thick trunks, is an incredible fast grower, and is not exactly the best one for weaving in to this labyrinth arch here, but it was available, so I made use to it. But this is the white willow, the Salix alba. This is the species of willow that's the wildest, the most common, and has the greatest quantity of salicin that is extracted for paint. A lot of people like these coloured willows because they're very good for taking the rods, for making baskets, and generally for weaving. Very, very pretty, very decorative. But as far as salicin, as far as benefits go, it's about 1/10 of the strength of the white willow that I showed you. And it's the same for all these beautiful weaving species. Very pretty to have, wonderful for weaving in a live willow sculpture. But as far as a remedy and the salicin, very, very low. So it's this thick trunk, almost white, creamy bark willow that you actually look out for. Some people may say to me, my granny told me this. Well, as you can understand, I cannot commit to the idea that your granny's right on a video. Otherwise, I'll probably have lawyers chasing after me. But anyway, that's the Salix alba. Of course, everybody loves these pussy willows. Very pretty at spring. I absolutely adore seeing this and look forward to them. To me, this is spring. But as far as salicin collection, herbal remedy collection, not really much good. Probably 1/20th of the salicin that you would get in the white willow. Another one I have that I love is this Japanese willow. It has this long straight stem before it gets to any branches, and then it has a kind of bush on the top. The weeping willow that people adore, they see in parks, is very closely related to this. But both this Japanese willow and the weeping willow, but unfortunately the salicin within the bark of these trees is about 100 to even 200th of what you would get from a white Salix alba willow. And there's one you might be absolutely horrified to see. It's had a very serious haircut, on the verge of pollarding, but I've taken a lot of poles and rods from this that I'll be using in the garden. It won't be going to waste. Some of you will be saying and feeling for this tree is various ouch, aches and pains, but do we do that after a haircut, I wonder? This tree soon comes back. You'll be very, very surprised. I bet if I came back in a month or two, you'll see this as a beautiful, leafy, ball-shaped tree again. It'll look absolutely gorgeous very soon. But it has a wide trunk, and this is what happens. It grows a very wide trunk very quickly. And this Salix alba is about 8 years old and very, very healthy. Whilst we look at this white willow tree, there's also another species of willow that equals this as far as remedial health properties go, and that's the purple willow, but I don't have any here, the Salix purpurea. So the Salix purpurea is as good as this white Salix alba if you can find it, but I don't have any in this tree labyrinth. So I'll just finish this off on this beautiful blue sky, sunny, warm spring day, looking at a portion of the tree labyrinth. Well, since I'm talking about willow, I'll take advantage of sharing something from my Bathing in the Phase breath book. I haven't really done anything with this very much recently. I haven't performed it for some time, yet surprisingly it's still selling quite well. It's out there on all the Amazons, Amazon.com, Amazon.co.uk, so I'm very surprised, but if you'd like a copy, be amongst the many people who seem to be buying it, and even some people who think it's a collector's item, as I see it for sale for amazing amounts of money. I've seen it out there for $100 or so. So someone must like it, I think it's valuable. But this is quite basic. It's Sally the Willow. It's from my Almost Tale of the Trees section. And to me, the way I was taught is that the willow represents balancing. It's how we experience the ebbs and flows of sorrow and joy and mix them with our dreaming. And it's about budding and blossoming in spring. So Sally the Willows, the conduit between the moon and the water, and the percussions of the tides of life. The ebbs peaking to touch both worlds as Sawan and Salman, a time now called Belthany. The two times of the year when the salmon fish challenge the upstream. Then relaxing to the flows of each equinox, when our wisdom of change must be our own. A flow time when no Sally Leaf has been born yet, but is eager to be. A flow time when no Sally Leaf has fallen, but is embraced by the sun, and is called upon to join the regenerating earth once more. Sallies tease childhood fancies and enchant our waking dreams as we pass by. The Sallies, they speak to us. It's why harp makers make sound boxes from them. And we weave Sallies to weave in our wishes and prayers to be released of the ebbs of the meeting worlds. And we sometimes wear Sallies to attract friendship, to attract love, and graft us to an instinct of honor. So Sallies, please breathe on us. It was here that your spirit guided us to where our names are blessed upon us, to here where the water that you share baptizes us, to here where you charm us into accepting who we are and who we will become. Sally the Willow. If you visit phasebreath.com, and I'll get something onto the video that actually spells it out for you, maybe it's up above or across my chest here, phasebreath.com, and you can get, if you like, your own copy of Bathing in the Phase Breath. It's available as a paperback book or an e-book, whatever your choice. So phasebreath.com. Oh, this day, I'm just bowled over by the heat of this day. This is definitely the loveliest day we've had this year so far. Gorgeous. And we may get some more of this tomorrow. Well, that's the sun setting today after this beautiful blue sky, almost summery day. Nicest day we've had here at Carrowcrory this year so far. There's some wind clouds over there. So again, I will bid you farewell from this video and trust you'll have a relaxed evening and sweet dreams tonight. Good evening from Carrowcrory.